Hi, I'm Ashley Celaya Dow here in Sacramento, California, bringing you my personal favorite side kneeling arm series. Now, I like to use this series not only with my clients, but also in my personal practice to work on trunk stability and mobility, as well as build some nice upper body strength. We're going to be doing this on a yellow spring. Feel free to take it to a high yellow or change your springs around from exercise to exercise. We're going to keep it on one yellow though, so we can flow from exercise to exercise without having to fiddle with the springs. At the very end of the arm series, we'll actually also add in some inner thigh exercises just to build up a little bit more heat through the lower body. Thanks for joining and enjoy. Hi there, so I have Karina here as my body. She's going to be demonstrating the exercises. We have Karina on one yellow spring. Now feel free at home to play with your spring settings. We can do this on a yellow, blue and a yellow, a red. Feel free to, again, play with each exercise and see what works best with you and your clients' bodies. Because we're doing one yellow, I just want her to flow through from exercise to exercise. So one exercise might be really light and we can focus more on stability. Other exercise, hopefully she'll build a little bit of heat. So starting off with some arms, she's gonna start with the short strap in her left hand for a little bit of external rotation. Now feel free to keep those legs in a nice parallel position. Sometimes I tripod my feet behind me. And she's doing a great job keeping this elbow glued pretty close to her rib cage. Sometimes I'll place my fingers here so they can actually squeeze and hold that rotation, or hold the arm while she's rotating. Now after this last one, she's going to take this into draw the sword, pressing out and then taking her sword back to her hip. Now feel free to keep your focus forward, really just focusing on this arm movement, or follow your hand with your head. So as she places the sword down to her right, focus goes down to the right, and it'll go up and out to the left. For another fun variation, we add a little bit of a squat. As she places her sword away, down, good, when her arm comes in, she'll squat down. That's a squat here, and then arm goes out and she'll stay up tall. She hinges back at the hips, there we go, and then we pull that sword away. And we'll just do a couple more. Using the glutes, pressing through the legs, arm pulls that sword out. And her last one, as she comes back up to a tall standing position, will stay tall, but switch hands. So now her right hand is gonna go into a little deltoid press. Right over the shoulder, pressing straight up to the sky. And for this first one, I'm gonna have her stay nice and tall. Even length on both sides of her rib cage, focusing just on this shoulder control. Now my next favorite here after this last one is to add a little bit of a side bend. So as her arm goes up to the sky, she's gonna side bend, little lateral flexion to the left and back through center. Encourage your clients, encourage yourself to remember to breathe. And just like her draw the sword, we're gonna take this into a little bit of a squat. She sends her hips back as she comes back in. She presses tall, takes that side bend. Hips hinge back. We press up tall. Let's just do a couple more like this. Really focusing on that left oblique to pull you over. Right oblique pulls you back up. And our last one. Good, now as she comes back through center, this hand is gonna stay in the strap and we're gonna go into a little bit of rotation. So arms are gonna come, you can interlace or stack your hands in front of you. Now as she rotates right to left, what I'm gonna encourage her to do is to keep her hands right in front of her sternum and her nose. So the torso is doing all the rotating. Feel free to really go all the way to the right, really twist, 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 twist. Yeah, gorgeous. And all the way to the left. One more before we add on to this. Our next rotation will be a little stir the pot. Keep your arms long as you rotate, bend them into the chest as you come back to the right. They stay long as you rotate around to the left, pull in close to the right. One more in this direction. As she comes into the right, she'll keep her arms close and go to the left here with close arms towards the foot bar. Long arms pull her back around. Two more, going with your breath. And her last one, gorgeous. As she comes back to center, we'll take a little brief shake of the shoulders if you need to shake out any of the spice. Now, keeping her strap in her right hand, we're gonna take a hug of the moon. Arms out to the side, palms up. She squeezes those arms overhead and right back open. Now, if your shoulder or a client's shoulder doesn't like this range of motion, feel free to play with bringing those arms a little bit further forward, kind of hairline or forehead just a little bit higher. Her last one, she's gonna hold those arms overhead, interlaced hands, taking this to the right for a little lateral flexion and pulling up and over to the left. Good, right side pulls over, left side fires up, nice big press. Now this gets heavy quickly, so we're just gonna do 2 more big breaths. She's doing a wonderful job keeping those shoulders down. And her last one here. Beautiful. Now as she comes back to center, we're gonna take a little brief shake of the shoulders again. We're gonna take this into our tricep press. Now just for control, because we're on one yellow spring, I'm gonna help her kind of park the carriage as she scoots her knees away from the shoulder blocks. Her long strap is in her left hand. Good, and we'll just take little presses overhead, bending the elbow and pressing back up to the sky. Feel free again to play with your neck placement. Maybe you look down at your right supporting hand. Maybe it feels better in the neck to look up to the ceiling, encouraging a nice high elbow. Let's do 2 more. Big press, beautiful. And her last one here. Now for a little bit of spice for the inner thighs as her arm comes back down. Again, I'm gonna park my foot on the carriage as she shimmies towards me. Her left leg is going to be up against the shoulder blocks. Right foot is going to be slightly externally rotated up onto the frame of her reformer. I personally like my arms in front, hug a tree position. You can always take hands behind the head if that feels better. Now I'm gonna take my foot away. She's gonna use this right hamstring and inner thigh to pull her and the carriage up to that right foot and with control back to the left. Notice how her body, her hips, her leg, the carriage, everything is moving as one unit. Nice control. After this last one, she's gonna add a little bit of torso rotation. So as she pulls into the inner thigh, she's gonna rotate to that right leg and back to center as she extends. Big breaths as she goes. Nice even length through both sides of the torso. This last one, she's gonna hold the rotation. She's gonna hold the pull. Her bottom leg toggles underneath her. Big breath, she's just got 2 more. Last one, nice big squeeze all the way into center before she goes right back to the stopper. And again, because we're on a yellow spring, I'm gonna park my foot as she gracefully dismounts before we do the other side. Hope you enjoy, try it, let us know what you think. Play with the springs. Thank you.